What is up, everyone? Welcome to Washington is a Joke. You know it, I know it, and today, like many days, we talk about it. Today, if you watched the video slightly yesterday, we are going to get to where is your stimulus check? Because I don't know about you, but certainly free money to me during this time would definitely be nice. So we will get to that. But first, it is Saturday, so it is time to go around the world. And we are going to recap some of the coronavirus-related stories of this past week, see what's working, see what's not, offer some commentary, and hopefully leave you a little bit better informed at the end of this. So, let us go around the world. Here we go. So we're going to start off today talking once again about Japan. Why Japan? Well, because they were originally supposed to have the Olympics, but they were also, in my opinion, doing very well so far trying to combat this virus. Now, unfortunately, it seems that there was I don't want to say cover-up, but at least a very interesting situation going on there. Because if you'll notice here, the mayor has come out and started to say, well, guess what? We may have some issues. The coronavirus that was not really a huge problem here, well, it's becoming a problem. And how we weren't talking about it and, maybe sort of pretending that this wasn't an issue, well, it's kind of an issue. So, what do we make of this? Well, it unfortunately probably means that they were really trying to somehow make the Olympics work, despite all possibilities to the contrary that they weren't going to work. Now that the Olympics are off the table, the cat's out of the bag, so to speak. Japan is appearing to have problems. Hopefully, again, like everywhere else, they will be able to step up and start testing. Going to have to overcome a little bit of resistance that there's not trying to spark panic, not trying to set off fears, but again, the mayor is complaining, the infections are rising, so you can only hope for the best. So we'll keep monitoring it. This is a story that's definitely personally interesting to me. So, keep tuning in. We will keep monitoring it. We will see what happens. Probably the bigger kind of story, though, is actually going to be coming out of China, where, unfortunately, there's this bit of a head fake going on. So the head fake is that things are getting better. So you'll go here. We're going to go look at this county, which is Jia County, specifically this city called Pingdingshan. And if you have some sense of geography, which some of us have better than others, here's Pingdingshan here. We have Wuhan, which was the outbreak here, and then we have Zhengzhou here. And what this is essentially saying is that China is once again locking down counties. Well, what does this mean? Is this, the same virus coming back? Is this a different strain? Is it something? I think at this point it's hard to say, other than it appears that the situation is not all that it appears. To give you some other context here, I know we have some people who have liked to travel. You're very close, again, if I can find Zhengzhou, now I'm lost, with, I believe it's here, with Shaolin Temple. So there we go, sorry. Shaolin Temple's here, Zhengzhou's here, so you're having this high touristy area that people are coming to, and we'll see. I can only hope for the best, but it does appear that things are going back. But to be honest, I don't think that's the largest story coming out there. I really think that there's actually a more interesting economic story in the sense of the impact of what they're talking about. So again, what does that mean? Well, China at a high level essentially has to keep growing at a very high pace to both pay down debt, to kind of provide social harmony. And if that pace slows down, now some people have said it's been slowing down for a while and that there's fake numbers. Again, we'll put that aside. But if this numbers slow down, then they have issues. So what do these issues generally take precedent and look like? Well, they're having, unfortunately, an outbreak of fires. So you have fires that are called forest fires in southwestern China, in Sichuan province. If you've seen the giant pandas, that's where they live. You're having this situation with factory fires, where there's people complaining that potentially it's become more profitable to burn down your factory and try to claim insurance than it is to try to keep the factory working. You also have this situation where a lot of people are getting laid off from work, where, again, I think a very terrible situation if you have people who've relied on having steady income and that's now somehow off the table. And I don't think that there's a really clear solution to this. And, you're also seeing people pushing back and saying, look, I can't afford the rent as a shop owner. So you have all these contributing factors, in addition to the illness, that I think are really going to complicate things. And I don't think that so far the communist government has an answer, but I don't think that anyone has a real answer for how to counteract such a large-scale both healthcare and economic crisis that China overall is facing. So that's China. let's, maybe we'll take a little bit of a kind of happier or different turn. We're going to go and look at India. So in India, there is this unfortunate incident where these medical professionals were going in to get tested, and they were essentially chased out by people with rocks. And, again, it's really sad to see because people are pointing to having this be an element of racism, or that, this is some sort of subpart of Indian culture that's against this. But regardless, racism is not the answer to this situation. What is this unfortunate situation is that people are not able to get tested, and that there's local contributing factors why people may not believe it or they don't think it's a problem. And we see the same thing here in the US with religious leaders playing, oh, it's just the flu, oh, don't worry about it, the person that I like tells me it's fine. And so again, we really need to take this serious, not only here in the US, but elsewhere throughout the world. But we like to keep things positive here. So this story does have a little bit of a positive ending. So if we go back here, we'll see that these doctors who were chased out really were kind of going back there, still continuing to test people, which, we like to see. Really special shout out to all healthcare professionals, again, throughout the world that are going out there risking their lives to try to save more lives and really try to cramp down on this virus. Another sort of lighthearted news is this video out of India. And we'll rewind this here a little bit. And if you watched the video last week, you may remember that the Indian police were going out and beating up people on the street because the country was in lockdown, and they were essentially saying, please don't go outside. So now the Indian police appear to have taken the opposite turn, where they are appearing with these coronavirus helmets. And this part here I'm very confused about. It almost just seems like the police is stealing this guy's bike. Again, I've watched this video a few times. I'm still not entirely sure what's going on there, but I do respect the helmet. I think that if we got this here, hopefully in the US, and really kind of elevated that risk that this is not adult spring break, then again, maybe we could, make a difference. Hopefully. So that's India. Next, we're going to go to Germany. So Germany has been a really, I think, positive in the sense of providing help and relief to people. And, what does that mean? Well, to me, the biggest thing is, it's not, again, how you help the biggest or the wealthiest get through the situation. It's how do you help the people who have the least social safety net to counteract the situation that they're dealing with. So here in Germany, as you'll see, they're helping artists, they're helping shop owners, they're helping independent contractors, the people who are most likely just to get swept under the rug, the people who are getting ignored here in the US that are struggling to figure out, how do I get by? How do I get some benefit from this stimulus package? Germany's like, you know what? Fill out a form, 3 to 5 days, we're going to get you paid. And I think, again, if stuff works, awesome. I think that it's great to see when countries are trying to create new programs and pathways to get more money into people's pockets. Because, again, Lord knows we certainly could use that here in the US, where it seems that every kind of solution is just impossible to implement. So that's where we got in the US. So why you tuned in here is obviously to talk about the great old US of A. And again, Washington is a joke. So we'll slowly get there, close a few of these windows, and I want to talk about this guy. You may have seen this video, and if not, we'll take a quick moment to watch this.
To interview me today. I'm being the voice of the people. I'm being the voice of the people that are afraid to speak up. I'm taking a stance against the company. I've been with the company a little over 4.5 years, and this right here is the tipping point for me. I'm standing up for those who cannot speak for themselves. What caused this walkout pretty much started a few weeks ago when I brought to the attention of the company that people were being sick in my department daily. I witnessed people have various symptoms: dizziness, vomiting, people fatigue. People were just being sick, and it was like a domino effect. I tried to escalate this to my senior team, my HR reps, and they pretty much shut me down. They're saying, we have the unpaid option, which doesn't really help us if we're trying to, make ends meet, bring money into our family. We can't afford to take off work just because we don't feel safe at work. It's not fair to us. So that was one thing I didn't agree with. When the first confirmed case happened, that happened on March 11th, I was in the building. The entire company was in the building. We had an activities committee that day. We don't know how long this guy had the virus. We don't know anything. All we know is that somebody tested positive and my employees felt unsafe. From that moment forward, the building should have been shut down, just like the previous building in Queens that was shut down and sanitized. That's all we were asking for at that time.
So here you have a worker working at America's #1 company for workers' rights, Amazon, which is experiencing record growth, saying, don't worry about it, don't go outside, we'll deliver. And you're not having them take care of their most vulnerable workers. You have a gentleman here, Chris Smalls, who's saying, look, we are not giving proper protection. We have a lot of people coming and going. We have individuals who have gotten sick in our warehouse, individuals who are touching packages that are likely coming to many of your doors. And Amazon just like, whatever. And they heard this, they fired the guy, they had a campaign to smear him, and I think that that's ridiculous. I think that that's wrong, and that it is important to continue to have some working system to deliver people items. I completely agree. However, whether they're at the grocery store, whether they are at, again, an Amazon warehouse, these people who are most vulnerable, who have the least amount of political will and capital to influence change or protect themselves, should be the most protected. Because it's not, again, about how much you protect people with power. It's how much do you protect people who have no power or little to no power. And so I think that it's very sad. And that also led to this next video here, which may be a little controversial, but I think really hits the nail on the head.
They should not be selling non-essential items. If you go on the website, all the essential items are sold out. Until you restock and until you close this building, shut it down. Dildos are not essential items. Books for kids, yes, but dildos? No. They should not be selling non-essential items.
And so there you have it. Amazon is still trying to continue like business is normal. And the man's right. Amazon should continue to sell things that are essential. Food, having some clothing, again, children's books. But this general of we're just going to make as much money as you can, I think it's a problem because it puts workers' lives at risk. For what? So that Jeff Bezos gets richer, so that Amazon stock price goes up. I think that that's a problem. This should fall under the Defense Protection Act, or as Trump called it, the P, and have a way that prevents companies from trying to profit during this crisis, to really have an opportunity to have people who don't need to work stay at home, but still continue to focus and provide life-saving equipment or just basic necessities so people can continue to have some quality of life. Why that's so hard? I don't know, but I would, again, like to see this change, like to see the government, do something about it. And, it's not just the equipment, it's not just the things that we buy, it's the equipment that's also for healthcare workers. And so that led to this situation with Jared Kushner coming on and talking about how the federal government's supply of ventilators are apparently just for us. We'll take a look.
The notion of the federal stockpile was it's supposed to be our stockpile. It's not supposed to be state stockpiles that they then use.
Official Strategic National Stockpile website, which describes exactly how these materials should be disseminated in an incredibly different way. The site says when states request federal assistance to support their response efforts, the stockpile ensures that the right medicine and supplies get to those who need it the most during an emergency.
That guidance, that description changed overnight to fit what Kushner said yesterday about the stockpile.
It's supposed to be our stockpile. It's not supposed to be state stockpiles that they then use. The notion of...
And so again, what does this even mean? Like, what is the purpose of our federal government right now? Are they just going to hoard everything and pretend that it's no one else's fault, that no one who needs equipment is able to get it? We've gone from saying, okay, you don't need a mask, to now you need a mask, to, oh, sorry, we don't know how to make masks anymore. So, that old t-shirt you got, that rally talent you got from a sporting event that, oh, by the way, you can no longer go to because we dropped the ball on trying to prevent this illness? Oh yeah, you should turn that into a mask. That's going to be a really great situation. But apparently that's all we got. That is our solution, to just go with it. You find something on the side of the road, just make a mask out of it, because, the federal government's not going to help us. It's just a general free-for-all, and I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong that the presidential administration goes down this path. I think it's equally wrong that Congress continues to just complain and moan on Twitter. Oh, it's difficult. Oh, it's hard. Well, then do your damn job. Go out, find a solution, and let's get people protected. This should not be hard, but for some reason it is. And we see the problem with, not only protecting people, but now with the stimulus check. Because, oh, please, great government, please just give us some money. Please give us some money. And now it's, oh, wow, thank you. You're going to finally give me some money. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, federal government, after taking advantage of me so long. Ha ha ha. Nope. Where's this money? When's this money coming from? You have the Bank of America that until this morning was like, sorry, only if you owe us money as a business do we give it. Chase Bank who says, I don't know what to do about it. This situation's complicated. And we're going to somehow hope that community banks are going to fill the loan. We know, unfortunately, since 2008, 2009, the federal government, if anything they've done is just destroy community banks. You raise their fees, raise their rates, so that it's very hard for these community banks to exist. And now it's almost, oh, the noble community bank, here to save the day. And look, community bankers are very important. And I think that generally they do a better job at times than large banks. But the problem is you've undercut them and essentially just allow them to subsist at this kind of break even or just kind of getting by stage, and put so much faith into larger banks, and consolidation has led to larger banks, that now these larger banks said, oh, this is too hard. Oh, we're not sure we're going to get our fees. And it's just this situation that just seems, so difficult. And, we're spelling out words. Trump had this video where he's trying to spell out COVID.
COVID-19. You know what that is, right? Become a very famous term. COVID, COVID. COVID-19.
So, I can spell words too. We can have a little bit of fun with this. I have a word too. It's called clawbacks. CLAWBACKS. What's a clawback, you ask? Well, it's a situation where the government, in the summer or in the fall, could essentially say, these individuals above a certain income threshold, or these individuals that are these companies above a certain revenue threshold, well, we're going to need some of the money back that we gave you. But right now, when pretty much everyone to one degree or another is suffering, then great, let's just get money in people's hands. The government is already printing money. They've already written off our future. So at least let's go ahead and help people. But for some reason, that seems hard. It seems like that's next to impossible. And so now we have Marco Rubio, who the only reason that we actually have some sort of payroll protection act, which we force companies to choose between protecting your employees or taking $10,000 up front and more or less pissing off, to scramble more or less by himself with the SBA, because no one else in Congress has really decided to do very much about this situation, to try to say, look, people are making progress. They're getting a better AWS portal, which is good. He's worked with Bank of America to get them to support taking more of their clients. Again, good. A little bit late, but better than never. And it's still just this continued iterative process that should not be hard. It should have been a very simple solution of putting money into people's pockets, and then if we decide at some point that we maybe gave people too much money, then we'll just take some of it back as the federal government. Should be a very simple and straightforward process, but of course, we're the US government, nothing is as easy as it needs to be. And, the final thing I think is still worth discussing is the wonderful Steve Mnuchin. Probably the worst person to handle this situation, because while we're all scrambling out, like, where's my check? Where's my money? Is someone going to help me out? This man is, I believe, given somewhere in the realm of $500 billion plus. Essentially the same amount of money that has been given to small businesses, which I think is, less, which they got $350 billion. Steve Mnuchin has got a slush fund of $500 billion to help larger companies or to help larger scale investors, recoup loss. But is there going to be any oversight? Nope. Because again, the U.S. government doesn't do any oversight. It doesn't care. It doesn't have any interest in having any remote system. It doesn't want to have any input on setting up something via Zoom or WebEx to monitor calls to ensure that people are still voting on key legislation. No, we want to make this situation as terrible as possible. And what that leads us with is this man, Steve Mnuchin, having his slush fund to dole out as he pleases, perhaps probably get some more money in the next one. And so we're continually going to have the rich getting richer and those getting by probably getting worse. And it doesn't have to be this way, but for whatever reason here in America, we have chosen it to be this way. So with that is all we have for this week. This is a reminder, we will get through this together. It's not going to be easy, but I believe the world that looks like at the end of this will be much better than the world we started with. I also want to give a very special shout out to Judge Clay Jenkins here in Dallas County, who, despite Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick here in Texas wanting to die for the cause, Governor Abbott seeming to have no idea how to stop this virus, Clay Jenkins has constantly been out front trying to tell people to stay at home, is trying to push for longer lockdown dates, and really try to keep the residents of Dallas County, like myself, safe. So I just want to say, Judge Jenkins, bravo. To everyone else, please remember, reach out to family members, reach out to your friends, check in. We'll have to get through this together. And with that, I will see you next week. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and goodbye.